Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our RootsTech 2024 recap. I'm Amy Johnson-Crow, and I'm so glad that you are joining me this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, or whatever time of day it is when you're watching. So whether you are watching this live or watching the replay, I do appreciate you being here. So I'm just making sure that all of my tech is working. We've got some people watching on YouTube. Some people are over on Facebook. No matter where you are, thanks for joining. We had so many announcements at RootsTech 2024 this year. It was, so many. Just absolutely so many. Hey, let me know. I'm kind of curious. Where are you watching from? So I am in the Midwestern part of the United States, where the temperatures are ranging anywhere from like 30 to 70. That's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And if you don't like the weather, hang around about 10 minutes and it'll change. So, all right, let me go ahead. Well, so we've got people from Florida and Michigan and Canada. Yeah, Randy says, good evening. I had other conferences, so I got to catch up. And there is a lot to catch up on. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to concentrate tonight on the big three, because if I told you about every single vendor that was there, we would be here for the next week. And we have research to do. All right, so I want to get everybody caught up, because even just looking at really the three big genealogy providers, Ancestry, FamilySearch, and MyHeritage, they had some really, really big announcements. And some of them, I think, got a little lost in the shuffle that is RootsTech. So let's go ahead and get started with MyHeritage. So MyHeritage announced that they have hit the 20 billion, with a B, 20 billion searchable records. That is absolutely nothing to sneeze at. One thing that is very cool about MyHeritage is that, yeah, they have some of the same records that Ancestry has or that FamilySearch has, but they also have some really deep European databases that are exclusive to MyHeritage. So I urge anybody, whenever you're considering adding any sort of subscription, anything that you're paying for, it's always a good idea to sort of kick the tires, see if there's a free trial that you can check out, or at the very least go in and check to see what databases that particular website or that particular service has. Because even if it's on sale, it doesn't do you any good if they don't have the records where you're researching. So that's one of the things that I do like about MyHeritage, is that if you do have some European ancestry or some European research that you're doing, definitely give MyHeritage a look to see what they might have. Another update, besides the fact that they have hit the 20 billion record mark, is they have updated the look of their individual profile pages. So on MyHeritage, you can build your family tree, either uploading it as a GEDCOM from, if you have your own genealogy software, you can take what's called a GEDCOM file and upload it directly to MyHeritage, so you don't have to retype everything. So MyHeritage has gone in and really updated the look as well as the functionality of their profile pages. Let's see if I'll zoom in a little bit on this so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So here is the new updated look of the MyHeritage profile pages, and they've added some functionality, not just updated the look, and I might say made it easier to read. Bifocals, it's a thing. So they've added onto the profile pages, it's a lot easier to see if there are hints available for that person, what those hints might be, and working with them all directly from the profile page. You don't have to jump back and forth between the tree and the profile and go here and go there. They've consolidated a lot of the functionality right there on the profile page. So if you had found the MyHeritage family tree to be a little bit awkward, you might want to give it another look, because they've updated it, and I think that they really have improved it. Something else that MyHeritage has launched, and that's something called the MyHeritage Wiki. Now, I have to be honest, I'm a little confused on why they're doing this, because the FamilySearch Wiki has, tens and thousands, if not 100,000 articles already on it. So I'm a little confused why they're doing this, but it is another resource for us to check out when we have genealogy questions. Now, I have noticed that some of the things that are on the MyHeritage Wiki, which you can get to at myheritage.com/wiki, you can go in and they do have, it's more obvious the different types of articles that they have as compared to the FamilySearch Wiki, which I have to say, I absolutely love the FamilySearch Wiki. I think everybody should check it out. But the new MyHeritage Wiki, it's free to use. But they do have, it seems like, a little bit of different coverage. So I was poking around in there earlier today looking at articles about DNA and, a lot of working with DNA and exactly what is a haplogroup and things like that. So this is brand new. Actually, not totally brand new. It didn't launch just at RootsTech, but this is really the first that they've really been promoting it. So definitely check out the FamilySearch Wiki. Again, it is free. As far as I know, you don't even need to have a free guest account on MyHeritage. You can just go check that out at myheritage.com/wiki. And before we get too far into this, I do want to say that none of the content that I am talking about tonight, none of this is sponsored. None of these vendors have asked me to give a review. None of them have, I'm definitely not being paid to say any of these things. I just want to put that out there, that this is not sponsored by anybody. Let me show you. I do actually have a little screenshot of the MyHeritage Wiki, and it is super easy. Like the rest of the MyHeritage site, it is a very clean looking site. You can just go in, and on the search, you can just go in just like you would expect on something like Wikipedia. Go in, type in your topic, or they do have some categories there on the left-hand side of the page, and you can see what different categories they have. And here's the article I was talking about a moment ago. Just wanted to brush up on what is a haplogroup, and it does look like they have things very nicely interlinked. So you can definitely go down some research rabbit holes like that. And hey, it's free. All right, some news still from MyHeritage, talking about their DNA. Now, they did announce that coming up later this year, they didn't give an exact time frame, but they did say later this year that they are going to be releasing their MyHeritage DNA version 2.0. So I'm guessing that that's going to be improved ethnicity estimates, maybe something along the lines of more refined matching, or maybe some new DNA tools. But they did say that that would be coming soon. But one thing that is going to be running out soon is, and let's see if I can share my screen. Hang on here. Love technology. Technology is awesome. All right. So this was an offer that was supposed to have ended like 3 or 4 days ago, but right now, at least through March 10th. So if you're watching this live or you're watching the replay right after I've done this live, you have until March 10th, 2024. You can upload a DNA kit to MyHeritage for free. And that's not all. Not only is the fee, I think it's normally $29 to upload a kit to MyHeritage. Like say that you've taken a DNA kit. That's what I'm trying to say. You've taken a DNA test, say at Ancestry DNA. You can download that information from Ancestry and upload it to MyHeritage. Normally, I think that the fee to do that is $29. Right now, through March 10th, 2024, they are waiving that fee. And even better, all of the advanced DNA features are going to be free forever if you make that transfer between now and March 10th, 2024. So that's going to be things like the matching and all of the other tools that MyHeritage has for DNA in the site right now. You're not going to have to pay extra for those DNA features. So if you've been on the fence about whether or not you wanted to either test with MyHeritage or if you wanted to upload a kit, say from Ancestry DNA, now is definitely the time to do it because free. It's a very good four-letter word. And if you're wanting to know how to do that, I just wanted to show you, oops, wrong one, wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Wanted to show you here when you're on the MyHeritage DNA page, if you click on the DNA tab up here at the top, and then click on Upload DNA Data. Again, if you've already tested at Ancestry DNA or any other place where you can download your kit, you can upload it now to MyHeritage for free through March 10th. So that is a pretty cool thing to do. If you're just joining us, we are doing a recap of RootsTech 2024. We just talked about the big announcements from MyHeritage, and actually, hang on one second, because I skipped over something very big from MyHeritage, besides the, where did that go? Nope. MyHeritage not only has MyHeritage.com, they just announced the release of a brand new website called Old News. You can find it at oldnews.com. Old News has, as you might guess, they have digitized newspapers, not only from the United States, but also some other countries as well. And let me scroll down, see if it shows. So they have some papers not only from the United States, they have some from Canada, they have some from England, from Australia, from Germany. I've seen that they also have some from the Czech Republic. I mean, just a lot of different places. They do have a 7-day free trial. Again, oldnews.com. If you already have a MyHeritage subscription, Old News is not automatically included in your MyHeritage subscription. It is an extra service, and there are two different ways that you will be able to access Old News. MyHeritage is actually going to be adding an additional tier of their membership that will basically include everything that MyHeritage has. They're going to call that their Omni tier. And as of this afternoon, the Omni tier was still not available directly from the website. They did have some very sort of like a trial thing that you could do, you could sign up for at RootsTech. I am not, however, seeing that on the MyHeritage website. If you are a current MyHeritage subscriber and that's something that you're interested in, I would just contact MyHeritage customer support and see about how you can get this Omni package, or you can subscribe to old news separately. I have not seen a price for this, but it does have a 7-day free trial. I think that is definitely worth taking a look. One drawback, and I have contacted MyHeritage about this to see if they can do something about giving us a list of what newspapers are available. They're working on that. And as of this afternoon, it still was not on the site. So I do hope that they get that soon. But I will say, as I have been working with old news, I have found newspapers that are not on newspapers.com. I've seen newspapers that, honestly, I have not seen anyplace else online. Your mileage may vary. And that's why I really, really wish that they would have that list of the included newspapers in it. I should also clarify that for the newspapers that are currently on MyHeritage, that you've been able to access with a MyHeritage subscription, you will still be able to access those newspapers with your MyHeritage subscription. They're not removing anything from the MyHeritage side of the house. So if it's a newspaper that was on MyHeritage 2 weeks ago, it's still there. You still have access to that. So old news is something additional. And as soon as I ever find a list of what they actually have on the website, I will definitely let you know. It's a good time for me to put in a little plug. If you really enjoy genealogy and like staying up to date with the latest in resources and what's available and things like that, feel free to hit subscribe either on YouTube or hit like over on Facebook so that you can stay up to date with all of these genealogy tips and tricks and resources that I share. Let me take a look here at the questions that is coming in. Val asks, how much is MyHeritage? It depends completely upon what level subscription that you have. Let me take a look. And another question, I'll take this real quick. A recommendation for Roots Magic for Mac, yay or nay? I will say this about genealogy software. What's right for me might not be right for you. This is honestly a great time if you're thinking about getting either new software or you're thinking about changing software. This is actually a really good time to sort of kick the tires on a lot of them because a lot of the vendors right now are still having their RootsTech sales. Whether that's a discounted price or if they have a free trial version or something like that, I really recommend that you get a hold of either a sale price or if there's a free trial, take advantage of that and really put that software through its paces. Because here's the thing, each of us works a little bit differently, and how we like to enter information, how we like to build sources, how we want to make reports. So what's right for me and what I like, that might not work at all for you. But I will say this, as you are trying out different genealogy software programs, whether it's Roots Magic or, what have you, Family Tree Maker, if there's something that you do a lot, like let's say enter source citations, we should all be doing that, right? Well, if you find the way that that program, if it feels clunky to you, if it just doesn't seem quite right, if it feels like it's too many clicks and too many places that you have to enter information to make a source citation, well, guess what? If it feels clunky, you're eventually not going to do it. So if there's something that it's like, oh, but everybody else uses this program, well, if it doesn't work for you, then that's not the right program for you. So I really can't say yay or nay because it really depends on what you really look for in a program. All right. One ancestor at a time with Simon Young says, what was the most surprising announcement from RootsTech? That is going to be coming up here in just a little bit. Saving the best for last. And it's also, I'm saving this announcement for last because if I led with it, I would just talk about it for the next hour. So, oh my goodness. All right, let's go ahead and get back to more announcements. So we talked about MyHeritage DNA. Let's move from MyHeritage and let's talk about Ancestry. Ancestry did have some announcements both from the main stage and from some of their pre-recorded programs that they had available at RootsTech. So they have, in the last year, this is amazing actually, in the last year, Ancestry has added 18.6 billion records. That is mind-boggling. I suspect that a lot of those 18.6 billion records are from their different newspaper collections. So if you've noticed how when you go in and do a search on Ancestry, you could get results that will at least tell you that there's something over on newspapers.com. And it could be an obituary, it could be a marriage announcement. And they've now grown out their collection where they have been able to identify individual news articles and announcements. So I suspect that that is what a lot of those 18.6 billion records are, but that is a lot. And they are now up to 60 billion searchable records. That is a ton. They've also announced what they're calling family groups. This is not rolled out yet to everybody. They are still rolling it out. That family groups is basically going to be like a private sort of family sharing group, kind of like if you had a private family Facebook group. So that is supposed to be coming sometime, I believe, in the first half of this year. And they are also still rolling out and expanding their memories. So adding photos, adding video, adding audio, and things like that. Again, that is something that is still rolling out. And DNA. They definitely had some big DNA announcements. I want to make this big because there was a lot. So coming soon, again, these are not out yet, but they have announced that they should be coming. I believe that most of these are supposed to be coming in the first half of 2024. So additional DNA communities. The DNA communities, remember, these are different than DNA or the genetic estimate, the ethnicity estimates. The communities is where it's getting it very, very specific. And I think a lot of people don't realize the power of the DNA communities. Think about when you're doing your research. You might not know exactly which Smith family you descend from in this area, but you have the area right. You know where they came from. Well, now with additional DNA communities, and they are getting really, really specific with some of these, that could really be a great clue for somebody when you're trying to work through a brick wall, you're trying to sort some things out, and you're looking at your DNA matches and seeing what communities you have in common. That could really help focus how you're related. They are also going to be improving their relationship predictor. They're going to be factoring in that self-reported age that we give when we upload a test, when we take an Ancestry DNA test and we say how old this person is. They're going to factor those ages in, because if you're way far apart in age, that definitely rules out some relationships. So that is going to be improved. A couple of features that are going to be rolling out, and these are going to be with memberships, whether you have an Ancestry subscription or you have their DNA Plus subscription. You're going to need one of those. They're going to add the ability to filter your matches by that DNA community, and also be able to search your matches by ethnicity. Again, both of those features are going to be available only to people who either have an Ancestry subscription or Ancestry's DNA Plus subscription. It's not going to be available if you just took an Ancestry DNA test and didn't add any subscription onto it. Also coming soon to Ancestry DNA, and this is actually going to be part of that new Ancestry Pro Tools suite. So again, an additional subscription, even if you have Ancestry All Access, these are going to be part of the Pro Tools suite that you have to pay extra for, including more details of your shared matches. So being able to see, well, I match this person and I match that person. How are they possibly related to each other? And how much do they share of their DNA? That's going to be a new feature that's rolling out, I believe, again, first half of this year. You will finally be able to go into your shared matches, select all, and add all of them to one of your custom groups with one click. I have waited for that feature. I'm pretty sure since they introduced the little dots that we can put our matches in. It's like, why can't I do this now? Well, we're going to be able to do it if we subscribe to Pro Tools. There will also be improved sorting of our matches, and with the Ancestry Pro Tools, you will be able to create up to 64 different custom DNA groups. So a lot of ways that we can work with our DNA matches if we are subscribed to the Ancestry Pro Tools. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Michelle asks, didn't MyHeritage used to have the ability to search matches by ethnicity? Whatever happened to that? Michelle, that's a good question. I don't recall if MyHeritage used to have that ability. That I don't know. Good question. And let's see. Make sure that I... Simon asks, is there family-friendly pricing to go with family groups? So my understanding with the Ancestry, the family groups, like I was talking about, that's basically kind of analogous to a private family Facebook group. My understanding with that is that that's actually going to be on the free plan. So as long as you have at least a free guest account, which is what you would have if, let's say, you used to have an Ancestry subscription, but you let it lapse, you have now a free guest account. If you ever took an Ancestry DNA test, but never subscribed, you have a free guest account. So my understanding is that with this family group, that it is going to be something that as long as you have some sort of account on Ancestry, even if it's just a free guest account, you'll be able to access that. And as far as I've heard, that's going to be included for everybody, that there isn't an additional charge for that. All right. Drum roll, because somebody asked earlier, what was the biggest surprise from RootsTech? This is really big. This is really big. And if you're just joining us, we are going over a recap of the biggest announcements from RootsTech 2024. And honestly, I think that this is the biggest announcement, which came from FamilySearch. full text searching. Not just the fields that FamilySearch has made searchable, but literally any word in the document. Full text. I'm kind of geeking out about this. No, I'm not kind of geeking out. I am totally geeking out about this. So the FamilySearch full text searching right now, there are over 100 million images included in the FamilySearch full text searching. Right now, there are, whether you count it as 2 or count it as 3 different collections that are included. Those are U.S. land and probate and Mexican notarial records. So if you've ever worked, let's say, with wills, so that's part of probate. If you've ever looked at a will, you probably know that it's usually more than 1 page. It could be 2 pages, it could be a dozen pages. But usually, if it's indexed at all, it's usually just indexed by the name of the person who left the will. That leaves a ton of names and a ton of details buried within that will that has not been searchable. Well, now they're searchable. And let me see if I can switch over to FamilySearch. Here we go. So how you find these, you're not going to find it through the regular search. This is still what they're calling it as part of their experimental labs. So when you log into FamilySearch, you do need to have a free FamilySearch account, log in, and when you scroll down a little bit, look for this section that says FamilySearch Labs. And depending upon how you've changed things around and what you've clicked on your home page, it might just look like this. It might not be expanded. So look for FamilySearch Labs. If it's closed, just click the little arrow, open it up, and you'll see this button, View Experiments. And when you click on that, you'll be taken over to the FamilySearch Labs page where you can see all of the different experiments that are now publicly available. The one that I'm totally geeking out about is the one right here on the top, Expand Your Search with Full Text. Now, if it's your first time working with this, it'll have a blue button that says try it. You can see I've been in there, so it's already turned on, and I can just click Go to Experiment. Now, it is important to realize that this is still experimental. This feature might not always be available. It is likely to change format. It is likely that they're going to be changing the UI. So expect some glitches. It's an experiment for a reason, okay? But that doesn't mean that we can't make some great discoveries in the meantime. So I was playing around earlier and I had done a search for Elizabeth Ellis. And then I just clicked search. And I can see that I have just a few results to go through, 9.1 million of them. But we can narrow it down by record type. Let's say I just wanted to look in wills, or I just wanted to look in deeds. Or I could narrow it down by record place. So I could say United States. I could narrow it down to a state. I could even then narrow it down to a county if I wanted to. But I wanted to show you when I was working on this search earlier, looking for Elizabeth Ellis, what I thought was so cool and why it's so important. This was the will of a woman named Sarah Huntington. But it found this will. If I can zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. And it highlighted the phrase Elizabeth Ellis. And you can see in this will, oh, got a little too big there, that she is giving something to my daughter, Elizabeth Ellis, of the city of Marysville of the state of California. The woman who wrote this will back in Muskingum County, Ohio, her last name was Huntington. But let's say that I've been researching Elizabeth Ellis and I had no idea who her parents were. I just knew that Elizabeth Ellis was living in Marysville, California. And from the census, I knew she was born in Ohio. Well, now I have found this deed that says a statement of relationship to my daughter, Elizabeth Ellis of Marysville, California. Elizabeth Ellis's name would not have popped up on a traditional will search, because a traditional search in probate, if it even is searchable at all, a traditional search is just going to give you the name of the person who left the will. It's ignoring everything else in here. So imagine for a moment what this can do for your research, finding those married daughters who you had no idea what their maiden name was, but their married name is included in their parents' will. What about if you're doing enslaved research? Being able to pick out those names and being able to narrow it down to a specific location. You're going to find so many more names like that. I've thought about how you could do this if you're doing land research, you're working in deeds, and you're trying to reconstruct a neighborhood. If you're working in, say, a meets and bounds state, where all of the boundaries are physical descriptions of the land, if there is, say, a stream that is a common boundary for a lot of the properties, you could search for the name of the stream and find all of those deeds. It is just absolutely mind-boggling to me, the possibilities that this opens up. And again, right now it's including U.S. land, U.S. probate, and Mexican notarial records, which are also just chock full of names. So many names in those records. There are so many possibilities with the FamilySearch full text searching, and there are some nuances of ways that you can construct better searches so that you're not overwhelmed with 9.1 million results. And actually next Thursday, March 14th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing a free webinar. You do have to register. The link, I believe, is in the chat. Let's see if I can get over to that. But the webinar, again, will be next Thursday, March 14th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It is free. And I think that I have, yeah, there we go. You can find the registration page at amyjohnsoncrow.com/fulltext. amyjohnsoncrow.com/fulltext. And I'm going to be showing you some of the search strategies that I've been using as I've been playing around with FamilySearch's new full text searching, so that you're not getting 9.1 million results. So I hope that you do join me next Thursday for that. So to answer the earlier question of what was the biggest announcement, FamilySearch full text searching. I can't overemphasize what a game changer this is going to be for genealogy. Even though there are only these 3 collections in it right now, they're going to be adding more. And as more and more records become available in this, we're going to find things that literally we would not have been able to find before, because it's just not possible to read every single will from the county courthouse where your ancestors were. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. And I do hope that you can join me next Thursday, March 14th. And again, registration at amyjohnsoncrow.com/full-text. Renee says, I played with this today and found a deed that helps with one of my brick walls. Yay! I found names for my 5th great-grandfather's siblings besides the one I already knew. That's awesome! And I've been hearing so many success stories. When they announced this, which was actually not in the keynote, which I'm a little surprised that this was not in Steve Rockwood's keynote. This was actually announced in the Thursday Morning Tech Forum. I was like, what? So I grabbed my phone. I did not have my laptop with me, but I grabbed my phone. It's like, let's see. I don't know if I can do this on mobile. I could actually do it on mobile. I just opened up Safari on my iPhone, logged into FamilySearch. It is a little bit difficult to do on a phone, but it is possible. But I do recommend that you do it on a full computer. Will that new FamilySearch program show living people, for example, if they are in a will? It will show whatever is on that page. That being said, these are all being taken from the records that FamilySearch has digitized. So they've already been available to us. We're just now being able to search them much better. Most of these records, they're typically not recent enough that you have to worry about finding a lot of living people. But in most places, at least in the US, in most places, deeds and wills are already public record. So there really isn't a privacy issue where that's concerned. Had the question, is there a list anywhere of all the announcements made at RootsTech? I have not seen one. That would be quite the compilation. Maybe I'll take that on for next year. I will have the ultimate list of all of the RootsTech announcements. Challenge accepted. All right, let's see. There we go. All right, let me see if we have any other questions that have come in. Liz says, I usually use Ancestry. I rarely used FamilySearch. I'll have to try it more. Yes. I know a lot of people like to, and I'm not saying that you're doing this, but I know a lot of people like to dunk on FamilySearch because, oh my gosh, the collaborative tree and the tree's a mess and all that's like, you can use FamilySearch very well and never use the tree. Billions of records. You don't even have to look at the tree if you don't want to. Billions of records, and they're free. So definitely worth looking at. Michelle asks, will the March 14 seminar be available again if we want to review? It will be available to watch for a couple of days afterwards. So yes, for a limited time. And remember, you can register for that at amyjohnsoncrow.com/full-text. Yep. Didn't mean to put that up there. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, definitely the FamilySearch Wiki. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that. In my membership called Generations Connection, I have a monthly live Q&A. And it's actually become sort of our running joke every month of how long will Amy go before she mentions the FamilySearch Wiki? I think the longest I've ever gone without mentioning it was actually like 42 minutes. Usually it's like 12. I'm usually right in there. It's like, hey, we don't know about this. Let's check out the wiki. But yeah, that's something we talk about a lot in my membership and in Generations Connection. Yeah, Jenna says using Ancestry and FamilySearch in combination is a 1-2 punch. Absolutely. So many times you'll see an index on Ancestry, the images on FamilySearch, and vice versa. So don't think that just using one, you don't have to use the other. They really do work very well together. Great point, Jenna. Melissa says, I wish the indexing on images and such on FamilySearch was more reliable. I get excited for certain records and it opens and it's totally different, unrelated areas. So frustrating. I know that they are actually working on improving their location database. So I'm confident that some of those glitches that we've been seeing with it says this one thing, but it's actually someplace different. I'm very confident that we're going to be seeing improvement in that very, very shortly. Let's see, what else? I know I am just so excited about the FamilySearch full text searching. Oh, I started to tell you. So I was in actually the Tech and Innovation Forum on Thursday morning at RootsTech, and they announced this. So I get out my phone and I'm able to go in. I actually made a discovery on my phone during the tech forum. I found a deed that I'm confident I had not seen before for one of my ancestors, Matilda DeBolt Skinner Crossan Brown McFillin. She has so many names, so I usually search for her because, you know, one of those names is bound to pop up somewhere. And by golly, I actually found one of her deeds. I was very excited about that. Oh, Sue, great. Sue says, I'm registered. I'll share this with my genetic genealogy group next week. Awesome. Now, I will say that it is free. Again, that's going to be next Thursday, March 14th at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. Registration is free, but you do need to register. And just like any other Zoom meeting that you have been to in the last, 4 years, just because you register, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you a seat. I'm of course will be looking at registration and trying to cut it off when it looks like it's going to be full. But if registration does go over, in terms of getting a seat actually in it, it will be first come, first serve. So, you know, might want to take a look. And yes, it was that deed. It was her, and I'm sure I had not seen that deed before. Yeah, very excited. All right, so there were so many announcements at RootsTech this year, and again, this was just from the 3 big ones from Ancestry, FamilySearch, and MyHeritage. If you're watching this on the replay, as soon as, at least on the YouTube side, I can't do it over on Facebook, but over on YouTube, as soon as YouTube is done processing the video, I will go in and add the timestamps so that you can get right to the part you want to and take care of everything there. But with that, I'm not seeing any other questions. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you're as excited about some of these announcements as I am. I think that, you know, the tools that we have now compared to what we had even, 5 years ago, or back when I started genealogy, which basically was while dinosaurs were still roaming the earth, It is amazing what we can find, and it's only getting better. So with that, everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening and go out and make some great discoveries in your family history. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.